actual pad.
Yeah.
So this is PDF.
Oh, okay.
So much less intrusive.
Yeah, yeah. And you're not building P&IDs, you're just like modifying them,
Yeah.
making them for an
Yeah.
LDAR program essentially?
Yep.
Okay. Nice.
Although we have created some from scratch for a plan. Lost it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I totally have these.
Okay, you should be-
Right?
You should be all set.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Question, when the plants, the MOCs, how do you get that in your subdivision?
Well, if they do an MOC and actually put it on a drawing, then they just have to send it to us so we can put that on there, but that's.
Do you use a facility?
Yep,
Their P&IDs?
Yep. yep, and then we just layer on top of those.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's all right.
No?
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Work for a small company out of Mossblock, called Garborn Services, PSI. And then went to work for ARI in 92. Then went to work for Laura Valero, Corporation. Then I went to work in Lake Dawes. Then I went to work at ARI. And
Kind of been all over.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a environmental prostitute. So
right?
whatever's paying. It's funny, I started with job burn, right? First, yeah, that's when Lake Dawes, when ARI, like ARI, what's the sage, environmental consultants, you know? That was some trouble.
Yeah.
And what? That's true. You're probably on. And 14 years ago, I had a stroke. I bounced around. I had some troubles with child support. Worked for Summit, Monty, Johnson, Summit Environmental.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And once the started got weird.
Okay.
And was on.
No, I'm based out of Montana, so I don't know everybody.
I worked for EMS USA. It's now what's they call Smart LDAR. Heather MacArthur, pretty long.
Okay.
And that's who I was working for when I had my stroke. I came here to Steve, so I did started at 14.
Mhm.
Came here out of the house. Let's make some contact where I can do some side work.
Yeah,
Because I'm collecting Social Security and disability income.
right.
We're about to get started. Do you want to take your seat?
Yeah.
Thank
Is that
you.
a handicap joke? You
No.
making fun of my turn?
Did you go to a class before this?
No,
Okay. I wanted to see if anyone's gone to that report is CS.
I saw that and I was like.
I just want to know what it is. Did anyone go to the class last, that report is CS? I'm just curious what the presentation was. Okay,
Was that Bear?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen shit. I have not seen David. Yeah.
How do you say, Welbes?
Welbes.
Welbes,
Yeah.
thank you.
April, May, March, May. Okay. A year ago. Yeah, so that's when I saw him last.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. My name is Tanya Jackson, Vice President of Operations for Montrose Air Quality Services and the moderator for this room today. Our next presentation is by Brad Welbes, Optimizing Your LDAR Program with Digital P&IDs from Think Environmental. Brad Welbes is Think Environmental's Technical Projects Manager, focusing on specialty programs, including optical gas imaging, greenhouse gas, cooling water, and P&ID markup, and digital drawing enhancement services. He also has over 14 years of LDAR experience, progressing from technician to operations management to project management prior to moving to his current role. Please, everyone, welcome.
Thank you. Well, that really kind of just covers like the first 4 slides. So, yeah, this is digital drawings. Again, my name's Brad Welbes. I'm from Billings. That was last Monday for us. So it's almost a little too warm down here. So I'm excited for this rainstorm to come through. And yeah, I'm kind of the catch-all for the company. I started out doing LDAR and went into cooling water and fence line. I do all the company's GHG work, and now I'm running the OGI program. And then my specialty is the digital drawings. So biggest issue is paper, right? Does anybody have digital P&IDs with layers and services, process, tag numbers on them in your CAD program? Or yeah, not a whole lot of people do. There's some places that do. Gas plants definitely. We're still trying to get out of highlighters and paper, pencil. Most of them are 10 years old, so they're obviously not evergreen. You get inconsistencies in the drawings, and or if you do have markups on them, smudges. They're pretty bad. I mean, if you're actually using them for your LDAR program. Oh, and usually you've got a stack like that are. Why are you keeping it? So, this was one of the first plants that we started, and this is how it started, was highlighters. They did eventually put this into their CAD program, and now the LDAR technicians walk through every month once they get done with their balances, and they'll redline these drawings, so they are constantly being updated for any MOC changes, and any of those changes that happen outside of an MOC process, which never happens. And we've been doing that at that plant for 14 years, and we're still finding bleed valves here and there, additions to stuff that never made it to an MOC program that's actually pretty robust. So obviously, if you've dealt with any of that, you probably realized the inconsistencies with your MOC program and what's on the drawing, what's in the field, what's in your LDAR database. So this is kind of a solution to kind of tie all those in together. Pretty much what I'm talking about here. Your MOC updates after shutdowns, the as-built and the construction. There's usually a lot of discrepancies there, and there's a lot of times that those drawings go from construction and don't make it back to the engineering department or the drawing department, and those things never get updated. So when you start getting audits coming through, why isn't this stuff in your program? It's here on the drawing. Well, it's not on this drawing. and it is PSM, right? You're supposed to have evergreen drawings. We've had a few audits here and there that have actually hit us on that. It's not the lowest hanging fruit. They don't always get you with that kind of stuff, but it is nice when you can have everything documented right there. It's like I said, it's one more way to be consistent between your database and what's in your field. So my solution is doing PDF as opposed to the CAD program. We have done CAD programs, but it's expensive, right? Your CAD license is expensive, and the hourly rate for somebody to work in that is pretty pricey. Not to mention that that's usually an in-house type of program. Most companies don't like giving out their DGNs or DWGs, right? So getting that whole other part of the plant on board with updating drawings, it's a little more work. I do it on PDF. So you don't have to have any special programming. If your computer will read a PDF, you can look at these. You can cycle through the layers. You can export this data to Excel. Let's see. That metadata is all embedded in there. You can pretty much add whatever you'd like in there. I do a lot of project markups for drawings, which starts out with just usually basic, which phase, liquid, vapor, flare. But you can put it all in there. It's how much data you want to see. And that was one we did as an example. Zoomed in there. But we'll put a a color palette on there, and it's really, you can change it for whatever you need. This is our gas, vapor, light liquids, and then your LDAR tags in there. I don't think, yeah, this one's just got vapor and liquid. Just a simple drawing. And all that data on there will export out. And it's a click of a button. And then updating it is as simple as going back in, adjusting the few things you need. If you've changed tag numbers, or if you've added stuff to a drawing, generally what will go in is we'll wait for CAD to issue a new drawing, and then we'll just add on to that so that it's still going to match up with what's in your CAD program. Again, we're not changing your CAD drawings. We're just basing it off of what they send us, and then we'll add to it. But that also gives your CAD drawings, that opportunity for somebody to be verifying that this is in the field, this is actually what it looks like, and making sure that your drawings come out correct. Usually start with a material balance. We'll go through, determine your VOC content, whichever regulation is applicable. This one we actually marked up by product code. So that's what the different colors were on there. And this was an easy reference for them, so that they'll know when they pull up that process flow, each of those colors there is a product, not a phase. And then that's what that looks like. And then we'll start with those clean drawings and then put those layers on there. And again, you can toggle those on and off, and you'll get them to print that way. And it goes beyond just the drawings too. We've done a lot of plot maps, locations of stuff. Found this helpful with new LDAR techs for routing. We've gone in and done a lot of re-inventory of plants and found technicians ping-ponging back and forth across aisles to monitor. So going in there and mapping some of that kind of stuff out too, made it easy to go in and go from jumping all over the unit to, hey, let's follow this unit out and make this a lot more efficient. So not only following the drawings out, making sure that's correct, but making sure that when you're out there monitoring, it's the best use of your time as well. And obviously, a lot of the OGI stuff that's out there now, monitoring plans. Little cleaner than pen and paper. And there's some of our simple cooling water setup. Same thing, it's just mapping this stuff out. It's a visual as opposed to being, go out there and hopefully find it, and it should exist. Anybody got any questions on any of this?
So how are you adding the colors and stuff? Like, is it just highlighting those streams?
Yeah, it's so some of the plants we just like here, it's almost like a highlighter, and you can set that opacity. So whether it kind of completely covers your lines or you can see through them. Let's see, this one's, so you can kind of see through it. I've done some work for some plants where we've actually gone in and completely colored over the line, so it looks like we actually did the drawing. It's a little more labor intensive, but it's really how you want it to look. I've done some work for DuPont, and they have a whole, if you've ever looked at any of their drawings, they've got their own P&ID scheme. Like, their valves aren't the typical triangles, they're ovals and stuff. So we had to create an entire tool set just to do their drawings. But yeah, it's just, it's simple. It's highlighting without the highlighter, really.
Can you go back to the Excel spreadsheet that you had of the tag numbers?
Mm-hmm.
So you got that exported from CAD or from your PDF drawings?
Right from here.
From PDF?
PDF. Yep. So what I do is I go in there. So I'm using architectural software. So what we do is when I go in there and pull up, let's see, like 936. Of course, it's not going to be probably on here, but when you go in and put those on there, I mean, that item, you can put defining characteristics for it, which is this kind of stuff.
Right.
I can put whatever you want in there. For most people, they want, is it light, liquid, gas, vapor, and, valve, connector, PRV. So it gives you that simple list. You can put whatever you want in there. And then that will just pull right off of that sheet. So, and again, it's PDF. So as long as your computer will pull up a PDF, yes, ma'am.
So when you say PDF, you're not talking about an Adobe type PDF program. What kind of program? Because I mean, if you're talking about putting layers and.
So the program that I use will put that stuff on there, but you can read it and cycle through those layers with Adobe. Yes.
Okay, so it's a different program that something.
That I create it with, yes. Yeah, but the nice thing is what if you even have just an Adobe reader, not a writer, you can pull these up, you can cycle through the layers, you can pull these off and print them out to Excel.
But if you update your P&ID, if AutoCAD is updating a P&ID, you can import it into your software, and then that take a layer from a previous P&ID and just
Put it right over there, yep, and put any changes on there, yep. Yeah, and it really is literally that simple, unless they've completely redone a drawing, then we'd probably just remark it up. But for the most part, they've added or removed, 4 or 5 valves tops, right? You pull that layering from the old drawing right onto the new one, make the few adjustments. It's 5 minutes of work.
So are we capable of doing that? Or can you own the system? You have to.
Technically, you could do it. It's Bluebeam software. I guess you'd have to figure out how to go in there and do all that stuff. But no, I don't own that software.
Like you said, most of the time, have to wait 2 weeks for a or next day or.
Right. Depending on, obviously if it was valves that they put on that CAD drawing, I mean, it could be pretty quick, or it depends on how quick that actually gets done too, right? I've generally seen it takes longer to get a drawing from the CAD department than it would from me. Because like I said, I can do that in 5 minutes to put that on there. Getting that official drawing is usually where it takes a little longer. But yeah, you could buy that software. It's Bluebeam software. It's an architectural software. So
Are you the only one doing this, or do you have a team that does?
at this point, it's just me. I used to have a whole team doing it, and it kind of got slow, so they're off doing other things now. So yeah, in between doing the OGI and the GHG and yeah, the drawings. At this point, yeah, it's me.
You ever plugged in GPS coordinates? Bigger vessel? So would that mess up your spreadsheet? Of those numbers?
Putting in GPS as far as,
Like your GPS coordinates?
Like on the
For
plot
piece of
plans?
equipment. For like the big vessel,
yeah,
you know, not the valves or not the little stuff, but just the big piece of equipment.
no, I've not tried that.
It'd just be extra columns, right?
Yeah.
Extra,
Right. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just that user defined fields. You can really, I've not maxed it out. I don't know what like the limit is that you'd put in there, but I mean, I think I've put 7 or 8 different user defined fields in there. You can make it a pick list, or, you know, it's,
And so for those tag numbers, those are like, there would be kind of a .00 or something, .01 kind of subcomponents off of those. Those are kind of like the main components, or would it, you track like every single source, I guess, like every single kind of.
what do you mean then?
Well,
Parent
Are you tracking the children or just the parent?
yeah,
If it's a valve and 2 flanges, are you tracking the flanges too on there, on this spreadsheet?
Not on this one, but you definitely could put that in there. Again, that's a user defined field that you could put in there and, you know, add valve, add flange.
Really massive, so the children.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What if you did range? Can you do ranges?
probably.
Right.
See, and I've not had anybody really get too much beyond that, the main tag number. But you could do a, like an add flange with any of those parent tags. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because and it depends on the P&ID, how they set it up, because sometimes it's super condensed.
Right.
And so you.
Yeah, because I mean, you see like this one, I mean,
Yeah, like that.
you know, it's not even showing, you know,
Left kind of.
flange ends. Yeah.
So we started with like, when we were kind of doing all the flanges, like every single component, it just became like a map.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, what's.
Right.
We kind of brought it up to that parent level a little bit and
Yeah.
simplified it. The range is pretty like 9.7 along, or even just like 9.7, 1.9.7. 3 times.
Right.
Yeah, anytime there's like a divergent,
Yeah,
then maybe you do it, then
yeah,
you
exactly.
can see where it splits.
Yeah, and it definitely, I mean, it's so customizable. I mean, you could add all that extra data in there. Usually, we're just happy to get it digital as opposed to some paper. Because I mean, we've done those projects where you're out there and we'd set up some gas plants in Ohio, and I mean, we're still doing pen and paper, and it's snowing the whole time. And you know, you're out there with a stack of 11 by 17s, and I mean, it's by the time you get back in, you're like, I got to redo this entire drawing because I've wiped my hand across it, and now you can't see it. So a lot of the places we were just like, oh God, like you can pull this up on a tablet now on the field and it doesn't get ruined. But no, you could add a lot of that stuff in there. I think, you know, looking at a drawing, obviously, if you started putting in your connectors and flanges that weren't standalone, it's going to get really busy really quick. And then I think you're going to get beyond that being useful. Now there's just so much data there. Like, I can't look at this.
And also like maintain it.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
That's one of the, again, like I think, you know, when you first set up your inventory, right, everything's pristine, it's perfect, all the numbers are
Right.
ordered properly, right? And then 5 years later, it's like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just tough to maintain. that balance, right, where it's, that trade-off where it's like, kind of, I guess, cleanliness, like simplify it to the point kind of over time, but still provides
Right.
data.
And you could, you can put as much data as you want on there. But again, if you're not going to utilize the data, why put the extra stuff on there? So put what's useful on there to you, right? If you do need all those secondaries, then by all means put them in there.
Gotten to the point where we can have
Right.
bulbs.
Yep.
I need to find driver back and forth between drawing with just the valve number of it, that valve's associated with this connector.
Right.
Not having that edges.
And then you don't have too much data on there that you're trying to sort through, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So we have clients that have these drawings with tag numbers on them. And when we find a leak, they actually ask us to provide the P&ID and circle which component it is.
Right.
And that way you can give it to operations and there's no question. And actually we take a picture.
Which is nice because that kind of bridges that gap between the LDAR community and operations too, right? Because most of the LDAR is, this valve is 5 feet southwest of column A by pump 232, right? A lot of those LDAR technicians, they don't know exactly what's in that line. So whereas operations is like, oh, well, that's the drain line off of this, effluent pump. Okay. So you've got that miscommunication right there. So yeah, the drawing is, here you go. Now everybody knows where it's at. We've used them for out of service components too. The first set of highlighted drawings, that plant, part of their tank farm had been down for 2 years, but every quarter we got to go out and verify that this is still TOS. So we kind of redlined those drawings and set them aside and put a stamp on there so that every quarter the technicians would walk that down, make sure that it's been blinded and purged where we say it is. And all of this is out of service so that when they came in and do the audits, we could say, yeah, we've gone out and physically verified this is still TOS. The database shows it. We've also walked it down in the field. So, because there's those times that, again, stuff happens in the field that they've added or removed components and it's not on an MOC.
Helps for your delay repairs too, because there's no question if it could be isolated or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, again, it's just more documentation, right? Now, okay, this is isolated. Here's the component that is, this is why. And here's a picture of why. So that you don't have an auditor come in and like, well, couldn't you do this? No. Here you go.
What do you do with the drawings once you're done? Do they get imported into your LDAR database? Do they just go to the client into like a shared folder?
Yeah, and that's kind of on the customer. They are PDF, so I know there's some of the LR databases that can put that in their program. Most everybody that I've dealt with, we share the drawings back to them, and then they have access and they do what they want with them, and then they'll send updates back to me, and I'll change them for them. On the a SharePoint site. So. Yes, sir.
Are you using these valve identifiers as the P&ID valve identifier or as the actual LDAR tag?
The LDAR tag. Yep.
Yeah, we do something similar, but we use a valve identifier on the drawing and add that in a user field within the LDAR program database. Because a lot of times you'll have a valve that gets replaced, right? You'll have a new tag associated with it.
Right.
And so instead of updating these drawings every time that happens, you just link the two, right? So
right.
This is more of an ID for the drawing, and it's associated with an LDAR tag, but they're not always the same.
Right. Okay. No, you could do that too, right? As long as you're not removing the component. So yeah, for change twos, yeah, that'd be a little easier. Anybody else?
Where's the sign-in sheet? Is it?
Anyone have it? Sign-in sheet?
Is it this one up here?
Yeah,
Oh, there's another one.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you.
If you can get the sign-in sheet before you leave to your next class, our next presentation's not till 9:30, so you have a little bit of time to get a drink or go to the restroom. Thank you. Good discussion.
It's much better doing it in the morning. Last time it was in the afternoon. It was after lunch and it was so warm that it was falling asleep. I'm like, oh, this is miserable.
You may or may
The hard thing is going to be.
I think you guys, our sister refinery, CHS is in Laurel.
Oh, okay.
Montana.
Yep.
And you guys have that contract,
Yep.
the LDAR contract. Are you using this there? Like if I spoke with Kilda, do you know if they're using this?
I don't think they are.
No, they're not. Okay.
We've talked about
You
it.
may not want to go that
Is
direction.
that
Yeah,
just,
I
I was hoping
we
you were,
absolutely
because then
have
it would be easy for me.
Right.
So what do you guys use it for? Type of-
So we're using it at
Biggest
Phillips
thing
in
is
town.
one of them
And
diesel.
no, because we did talk to Kelda and I think that was right before the whole COVID thing.
Yes.
And then everything just kind
Yeah.
of went
Yeah.
radio
Well,
silent.
about that.
Children's.
Yeah.
So,
That's why
no,
when you lost your team too.
Yeah.
From 6 guys to one.
Yeah.
Yes.
nope, it was everything kind of tied up and there was just like,
Yeah.
this really is, and I get it, right?
You
It's
can
strong.
send it
It's
here
not
as well.
the most
I'm
important
not sure where
thing.
the sign-in sheet
But-
went, but
But you're
We can
right,
go
like
here.
we have.
When you do use it, and you
Tanya?
do find that
Yes.
useful, it's like,
Fitzgerald be here?
and
he
yeah,
is
there's always
here
that
at the
upfront